Okay, so last time I was on the video, I was really talking about how as a Christian child of God, why I believed in being able to carry, and I went over some scriptures and pointed out a few things, and really kind of wanted to talk about another hot little topic that seems to be, Georgia decided to pass a new law just recently about carrying in churches. And there's some states out there that it's already legal, perfectly fine to carry a concealed weapon in church. And I think North Carolina is one of them. In fact, there's a particular pastor, he actually carries behind the pulpit, which I think is totally cool. But there's some pastors here that are they're beside themselves. They can't even fathom the idea of being able to carry a gun in church. And I hate to say it, but I think they're the same ones that think that you should just roll over and take whatever anybody puts on you, whether it's persecution or just some thug off the street that wants to take your life for no reason. You know, these pastors, I mean, that's the attitude I get when they talk about, you know, you shouldn't carry a gun in church, it's sacred ground. And yeah, it's sacred ground, but come on. I mean, really, you can go back in history and look at Egypt, or better yet, look at Israel, and look at the temple, look at synagogues. You know, they started with the temple, started with a tabernacle in the wilderness. They all carried swords. Even when the temple was built, Solomon built the temple, they had temple guards. And in the area outside of the holy place, in the public area, it was no big deal to carry a sword. There's no historical records that said that no one couldn't carry a sword. And in fact, once they started building synagogues in the cities and towns, make it easier to pray and to study God's Word, and it would be no big deal to carry a sword inside of one of those buildings. It was almost commonplace to have a sword. And even like in the last video I talked about in Luke, where Jesus, he told them, when he sent them out the second time, he said, if you don't have a sword, take some money out of your money pocket or your money bag and go buy one. And which really, to me, is almost saying, hey, it's okay to carry a gun. It's what's the motive of your heart? What do you carry that gun to be the end all of everything? As a Christian, it shouldn't be the end all. If anything, it should be the absolute last resort. But I want to have that last resort. I don't want to be in a situation where argument comes up and nothing I seem to be able to say or do brings peace, and that person decides to pull a knife or they pull a gun, and I'm going, oh no, you know, what do I do now? You know, I believe God protects, and He's protected me before when I wasn't carrying a gun, and I know He'd protect me now. But there's always that Job effect. I call it the Job effect, where Job was a righteous man, and yet God pulled the hedge of protection away from him to basically allow Satan to sift him, just to see how he would react. And you know, that can happen to us. That can happen to any, because you know, even Jesus said that in this world we're going to have tribulation, but be encouraged, because I've overcome them. You know, so we know Jesus has overcome whatever comes our way, and we can get through whatever that situation is. But to have that protection, that extra level of protection, and to be able to deal with that person in a Christ-like way, with knowing that if it comes down to no matter what, I've got that protection, I've got that gun by my side, and I've got the training to be able to do what needs to be done. And but it all starts with trying to make peace, trying to be the peacemaker as Christians, and we should be that way. And as far as church is concerned, to say no guns allowed, you might as well just go ahead and put a big bullseye on your church. Go ahead, just, you know, put a big old sign out front that says, we don't have any guns, we don't believe people should carry guns, we don't believe Christians should carry guns inside of a church, all bad guys allowed. Come on in, you know. We'll pray for you while you're shooting us up, while you're robbing us. We'll pray for you. You know, you do whatever you want to us. I mean, you're basically creating an environment for everybody to become a victim, and that's not what God's about. Jesus came to set us free, and whom the Son sets free is free indeed. And we're not supposed to be victims. We shouldn't be. We should be victors. We should be overcomers. And a part of that being able to overcome is to be able to protect ourselves and have that right to be able to carry, especially inside of a church. We're in the dark days where there are other religions out there that want to destroy Christianity. They want to kill us, and we get into persecution. That's a whole different story, and we should turn the other cheek when it comes to being persecuted for what we believe, and even in the church. But at the same time, we should be able to protect ourselves too. And I want to be able to stay around long enough to keep preaching the gospel, and I want to be able to keep telling people about the love of Jesus. And I don't want just to roll over, and I'm willing. It's this. The thing is, my suggestion, especially pastors, pray about it. Don't let your people be victims. Give them a choice. If they want to be able to carry a gun in, let them carry it. And because it's our right. God gave us that right, and it was defined under the Bill of Rights. The founding fathers, the majority of them were Christians. They were believers that God gave us certain rights, and one of those rights is to protect ourselves. And it should be. I mean, geez, they had church inside in the U.S. Capitol building. They had church inside the rotunda, inside the Capitol building, and I guarantee you they had guns. I guarantee you. In fact, I guarantee you at every church service somebody had a gun in their pocket. And I mean, come on. I mean, let's get over that religious idea that Jesus was all about everything about peace. He didn't say he came to bring us peace. He made it clear that he came, that there was going to be strife when he came. And so we got to be able to protect ourselves, especially in church. Don't let your church be a victim. Don't let those people inside the church. Give them at least that right to be able to carry. And if talk to your insurance company. I don't know. You maybe take out an umbrella to protect yourself if you do get sued. Here's an idea. Put on a gun seminar at your church. Bring in somebody that's certified, that can not only teach them how to properly instruct people on the proper use of handguns and firearms and be able to teach all those things, but can do it from a biblical perspective, because I think a lot of Christians, they don't even have that biblical foundation about protecting themselves and firearms, different things, and just don't sit there and say, no, you can't carry a gun just because you've got this weird idea of religion and what God thinks. And make sure you pray about it. Make sure this is because you're talking about protecting your flock, and this is a part of protecting your flock. They're your people. God put you over them. Protect them. And a part of that protection is, if you can't put armed security in your building, then let your people carry guns. Do the class. Put on some self-defense classes. Use that as a form of outreach into the neighborhoods. Hey, if you're a gun-free church and you're not a gun-free zone, but you're a church that promotes gun usage, and you're putting on classes, NRA classes or whatever, and it's got a biblical undertone to it. It's got Bible. You're teaching Bible along with it. You can use it as outreach. You can bring people in. You can, hopefully make your church grow, because people say, hey, this pastor cares enough to let us make that choice. But don't just shut the whole thing down. Don't just pray about it. Open the doors. Let law-abiding citizens who have done what they needed to do to get their concealed carry permits, let them come in. Put on the classes. Do what you got to do to protect your flock. And if you think you're protecting your flock by creating a gun-free zone, look at Sandy Hook. Look at Aurora. Look at all you got to do is look at these places that were gun-free zones, and see that gun violence happens, and it happens 9 times out of 10 in a gun-free zone. So take care of your flock. That's my opinion. You can take it like I said. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm definitely not your lawyer, so I'm not an expert of the whole deal. So just do what you got to do, and you have a blessed day.